Good morning, friends. So far, I had been talking about communication skills. I have given you some idea about some skill sets under communication skills. Okay, I will continue with this a little further, and then I'll go into the actions, the way you should be practicing. Okay, signal communication is a mixture of body language as well as physical communication. That means you are giving some inputs to somebody remotely. Remotely means within the visible distance. It's like somebody whom you want to call. I'll give an example, very rudimentary example. Somebody you want to call, you can call by his name, shout. Okay, but it may so happen that the distance is such the sound never reaches him, so he does not hear the call. You are trying. So verbal communication you tried. The next one is you are using body language, and by body language means you are raising your hand and waving. Okay, the moment he looks at you, never hears the word, but he now knows that you are trying to establish a link with him. That is signaling. Signaling for positive impacts, signaling for negative alertness, everything is possible. If suppose you tell somebody, please come, that means you are signaling, come. See, look at the hands, it's body language. You are, if you say like this, that means go back, move. See, the whole movement of few fingers and the palm makes such a difference. From a distance, you shout, go back, he never hears. But suppose you say, go back means nothing. You are asking him to go back, but your hand is saying come. He gets this signal coded. And then he decodes in the mind that this kind of, if the fingers are forward, means come. And immediately he comes, but actually you don't want him to come. The thing is, signal communication is so critical. And this is a rudimentary standard day-to-day example, but I'll give you one example in your office. What happens in your negotiations? Is it really useful? Signal communication? Yes. I'll tell you. Suppose you are negotiating with a team, don't accept, but you would also like to know what others are saying. You have an opportunity. You may say, give us 10 minutes time, we'll discuss it out ourselves and then get back to you. Possible. But it may so happen, right instantly if you say yes or no, it makes a good sense and more beneficial to you. In such case, what you do, you look at the other three persons and wait for their signals. They may not be able to say because they don't want this sound to be reaching others, what they are suggesting. There may be one person who may say, don't do it. There may be another person, he may say, let's try it. There may be another person who may say, do it. And if suppose there are four of you and one person says do it, you also think do it, then immediately the person who says don't do it, he gets nullified. But the other person who says may do it comes into your group and you take a decision and instantly say do it, and we accept. This is how the whole signal thing goes on. And I'll tell you a very, very strong trick of signaling. There are many ways of signaling. When I'll talk about the non-verbal communications, in which when I'll say signal with gestures, you will find that there's a sense in it. Not everything is trained. Like say, I cannot make you sit in front of me as students and then say, do this, by which you are signaling. In fact, signaling is a very quick, very prompt mental exercise which gives you a result or a direction that do or don't do it. Okay? And even if it is something like in between, that it may be done in your mind, if suppose all four of you think it may be done, in that case also a signaling matters. I have always seen during our interactions, there is somebody who alerts, who cautions, who says don't do it. The moment you look at him and he says, he just said this much, nobody notices. Or he may say, looking at eyes, don't bother, don't care. I get a hint, he is saying don't. That means there are so many such kind of gestures in the whole body language which you can make sense. And these things are not class book or class notes oriented subjects which you can learn. That's why they are all very strong soft skills. Okay? Signal communications. I'm not talking about such signals which are basically electronically transmitted. No. Here everything is through your eyes, through your smile, through your movement of the head, through your movement of the hand, movement of the finger. through your eyebrows movement. That means this signal makes a lot of difference. Okay, speech. How do you speak? How do you speak? We say verbal communication. That means the communication through speaking. And this art of speaking, which you take as a very strong element of verbal communication, the speech, how do you speak? What's your voice level? What's the depth of your voice? What is the tone of your saying? What is the actual sound type? Is it feminine or is it masculine? For male members, or say for men, is it normal or is it very deep or is it feminine? For female, just the reverse. Is it normal as female voice, or is it a little masculine or little cracked? There are so many things in the speech, and it is because of this, in the negotiations, we always take people whose speech is very well tested. Very interesting, my experience with interacting with lots of people. I have found some people who has a little bit of feminine voice. That does not mean that they are inferior. They are very, very strong. A little feminine voice, but very strong intellectually, makes a great deal of success. Okay, but I have also seen somebody whose voice cracks in between, and that is very interesting. And I realized that what happens. Then I found that I guessed that he has a vocal cord problem. It's a very nice voice he has, and suddenly when he keeps on speaking, suddenly his voice cracks and it becomes feminine. And these kind of cases, which creates a little bit of jerk in the whole communication flow. My suggestion is that if you have such persons whose voice keeps on is inconsistent, keep him in the group, but don't let him interact and talk, because this may create a kind of a hilarious situation, or maybe a kind of amusement at the back of the mind of the people whom you are communicating with, or it may be very funny at situations. Okay, it may be embarrassing for everybody, including the person who has this. I have seen 2-3 such persons in my life, and they always came forward to speak because they wanted to improve. But I have found that in a group, when they are negotiating, their voice with this kind of inconsistencies made a lot of difference, and they were always negative. Okay, so you will always see, look around yourself, you will find such, if you have this kind of experiences. Storytelling, some people have the habit of saying whatever wants to say as a story. Storytelling is good or bad, it is a question. It's a question. Depending on the situation, sometimes storytelling is good. But if suppose somebody has done something, you sent one salesperson to somebody and he went there, he got a success or failure for whatever. Now he comes back and reports to you, and he starts telling you the story right from the time when he got down to your lift, got the car, driver was not available, then he looked for the driver, and driver was smoking somewhere outside, so he was called, and then he fired him. Then the driver took him very slowly over there, and if he keeps on telling you the whole story till the time he has returned back after this interaction, you lost your interest, you lost your business also. Storytelling is good if it can be told very crisply, very discreetly, but in a manner which is not formal. It's not like, say, somebody is reporting, at this time I was at the parking lot, then at that time I reached the office, I waited there for 43 minutes, and then the person talked to me for 23 minutes, and then I came back with this, and then etc., etc., etc. That's again bad storytelling. Okay, that so much of discretion is also not required. What is very interesting is somebody tells you gives you the report in a manner which becomes very smooth, very nice to hear. So storytelling is good or bad. I am not saying yes or no, or in favor or against. Storytelling is something which narrates the whole situation. So if the narration is very discreet and to the point, then it makes a good impact. If the narration is too much of almost like telling a story of the entire history, you lose your interest. And next time always you say, oh no, don't tell him, don't ask him to go there, he will come back and tell me the whole history of it. These are all our experiences. Verbal communication is the words. So I use this like, say, speech and such things. So verbally when you communicate, that means you speak with a tone, with a certain kind of depth, using certain language, and saying the right thing at the right place. or saying a wrong thing in a wrong place. All these are verbal communications. Not everything is positive. So verbal communication is when you use your words and the mouth, the vocal cords, to speak something. That's verbal communication. We'll come to this. There are lots of do's and don'ts in that. So I'm summarizing it. So verbal communication, visual communication, whether it's body language or through graphics or through presentations on the screen, through media, it's a visual communication. That means somebody is being communicated your viewpoints visually. It may so happen, say, when you look at the movie, you must have seen the entire story is told by the director, enacted by the actors, created by the entire production team, where nobody is speaking to you. You are only seeing the whole movie. Entire history is narrated to you. That's a visual communication. Very strong visual communication. And here, nobody is present over there. So sometimes it may so happen, quite often it happens. Like say, my clients sometimes say, okay, so you do one thing, you just send one small video clips of your what you want to say, and we'll run it here and we'll listen to you. First time I tried this when I was invited for a lecture in another part of the country, and I could not afford time. And they said, sir, okay, 5 minutes to 15 minutes, if you can, you are the keynote speaker, so you just prepare your lecture and take a video shoot of that and send it to us. We'll run it over there during conference. As a keynote speaker, you will not be present. Everybody will listen to you. First time I did it, and it went on a little farther. Only thing what I did not like, it was visually communicated, no doubt about it. Also verbally communicated through media. That means they saw me on the screen. They heard me through the speakers. Anything that I have given as an example, they heard me, everything. So I communicated to them, I'm sure. But only thing is, I did not get the feedback that whether they have understood, they had any clarifications, they appreciated, or they disliked it. I did not get that communication. So visual communication is something which is one-sided. My suggestion, dear friends, is this. If you really want to sell your product, if you want to sell your ideas, sell your design, then try to be present, at least through media. Nowadays with Skype, it's very easy, or any other media, the latest media in which you can be seen, and you can also see the background of the people who are, everybody is sitting over there. That is communication. Only thing that has reduced our physical distances through media, through technological advancement. I fully appreciate this, but never send your products there. They will see it themselves, and then they will get back to you. They will never get back to you, because you do not know what feedback others are giving. If it is through Skype, then it's on it's live programs, and there you know who is looking at your screen, who is not looking at something, who was sitting over there and after some time he just left, who joined in between. You see everything. So nothing is communicable unless we have this media. Okay. So visual communication is basically what is communicated visually. So the Skype is also a very strong visual communication in which verbal communication is plugged in. And then in my list, written communication. How do you write? I said something about it a little before, that how do you write? How do you express? How do you say your points? How do you highlight? Sometimes in written communication you make something bold. Sometimes you make something colored in the whole text, or you put underlines, or you make a marker tones in this. That means the written communication is something where you are not supposed to be sitting in front of him and read out the whole thing. The person is going to read, and that too, nobody is reading it verbally, orally. It will be read by, it will be read by looking at it. Somebody is not reading for me. So your written communication should be such that every point, its clarity, its look, its formatting, its font sizes, its line spacing, its paragraph spacing, its heading, subheading distributions, its bulleting, everything makes such a great difference in between a good written communication and a bad written communication. But since I have said that under this domain of course, I am not going to talk about this written communication, because I consider written communication as a very strong hard skill. So I am not going to go into this. But now in the whole communication skill, everything is bundled together. Which one is important? There is no reason to find out that truth, because every situation is independent, different. Every context is different. Even if you had been to say one office once at say 3 o'clock in the afternoon, go there in the morning, situation is different. Maybe the same place you have gone at the same time, met the same person, but your earlier situation and today's situation is not same. The dresses are not same, the weather is not same, the light condition in the room is not same, the persons who are coming in for interactions are not same, the points that you are discussing is not a repeat of the last day, so everything is different. So dear friend, take this very seriously. Your communication skill is such, blended with total personality is developed through all other skills, soft skills that I have talked about, basically makes you a person, a full-fledged person who is strong with the soft skills. Now, whether you're going for negotiation, going for buying, going for selling, going for marketing your product, going for developing a product, or trying to make friends, I do not know what context you'll be going into, but what is important is, my suggestion is, go through all the points that I've said so far, categorized in different groups, but quite often you'd find there'll be some bit of overlaps. One particular soft skill under communication skill can be a part or maybe the same in other skills as well. So go through all the soft skill sets, and these are the skill sets, not all are created by me. These are all researched through various publications, whether it's in the net or whether in a book or journals. I have only done a very diligent task of assimilating all these kind of soft skills. There may be many more which I have not come across as yet. Maybe that particular references I did not get. But the thing is, nothing is created from nowhere. Everything is gathered from others' experience, others' learning, others' researches, and that's what I'm presenting in front of you. At the end of this entire course, I'll give you a list of all references that I have referred in this, so that you, if necessary, you can always fall back on those for additional reading of those reference books or journals or nets or links. Okay, thank you very much till now. Then I'll go to the other stages later.